Have you ever wondered what the last moments of someone's life looked like? Today, we're rediving into some of the most chilling cases of people who were caught on camera right before they disappeared without a trace. These images and videos offer a haunting final glimpse, leaving behind mysteries that continue to puzzle investigators and the public alike. Let's start with the unsettling case of Lars Mittank. In 2014, Lars, a 28-year-old German man, was on vacation with friends in Golden Sands, Bulgaria. The trip took a dark turn after a bar fight over a football game. Lars got into an altercation and suffered a ruptured eardrum. His friends flew home as scheduled, but a doctor advised Lars not to fly due to his injury. He checked into a cheap hotel alone, and that's when his behavior became increasingly paranoid. He called his mother in a panic, claiming 4 men were trying to kill him and that he was hiding. The next morning, Lars went to Varna Airport to see a doctor, hoping to get clearance to fly. Security footage shows him calmly walking into the airport, consulting with the doctor, and then, suddenly, for no apparent reason, bolting out of the building. He sprinted across the parking lot, climbed a tall barbed wire fence, and ran into a dense sunflower field. That was the last time anyone ever saw Lars Mittank. What made him run? Was someone really after him, or was it a paranoid delusion brought on by his injury or something else? His disappearance remains one of the internet's most debated mysteries. Next, we have the tragic story of the Springfield Three. On the night of June 6, 1992, recent high school graduates Susie Streeter and Stacy McCall were celebrating their graduation. They planned to spend the night at Susie's house. Susie's mother, Cheryl Levitt, was also home. The next day, friends who came to visit found the front door unlocked. The TV was on, and the women's purses, keys, and cars were all there. But Cheryl, Susie, and Stacy were gone. The only clue that something was amiss was a broken porch light globe on the front step. There were no signs of a struggle inside the house. It was as if they had just vanished into thin air. An answering machine message had been mysteriously deleted. Years later, a new witness came forward, a woman who claimed she saw a terrified Susie being driven in a van on the morning they disappeared. Despite thousands of tips over the decades, the fate of the Springfield Three remains unknown. Where did they go? What happened inside that house on that quiet suburban street? The case is a chilling reminder of how quickly a night of celebration can turn into a lifelong nightmare. Now, let's look at the perplexing case of Brian Schaefer. In 2006, Brian was a 27-year-old medical student at Ohio State University. On the night of March 31st, he went out with a friend to celebrate the start of spring break. They ended up at the Ugly Tuna Saloon, a bar located on the second floor of a building. Security cameras captured Brian entering the bar around 1:15 a.m. Later, he was seen on camera outside the entrance, chatting with 2 young women around 2 a.m. before re-entering the bar. And that's the last confirmed sighting of him. The bar's only public entrance and exit was monitored by that camera. He was never seen leaving. His friend got separated from him in the crowd and assumed he'd gone home. But Brian never returned to his apartment. Investigators reviewed every second of the security footage, but there was no sign of him exiting. How could a man walk into a bar and simply never walk out? Theories range from him intentionally disappearing to foul play within the bar, with his body being removed through a service exit not covered by cameras. But with no evidence to support any theory, Brian Schaefer's case is like a magic trick with the darkest possible ending. Another deeply unsettling story is that of Maura Murray. In 2004, the 21-year-old nursing student packed her car, lied to her professors and job about a family emergency, and drove away from her university in Massachusetts. She withdrew cash and bought alcohol before heading north. Later that evening, she crashed her car on a dark, snowy road in rural New Hampshire. A local bus driver stopped and asked if she needed help or if he should call the police. She reportedly pleaded with him not to, saying she'd already called for roadside assistance. The bus driver went home and called the police anyway. By the time an officer arrived just minutes later, Maura Murray was gone. Her car was locked, her wallet and phone were missing, but her packed bags remained. There were no footprints in the snow leading away from the scene, other than those of the first responders. Had someone picked her up? Did she wander into the woods and succumb to the elements? Or was she meeting someone? Her family later discovered she had been behaving strangely in the days leading up to her disappearance. But her destination and intentions that night are a complete mystery. The last glimpse of her was a lone figure at a crash scene on a cold winter night before she vanished forever. The case of Andrew Gosden is equally heartbreaking. In 2007, 14-year-old Andrew, a gifted student, skipped school one morning. He withdrew £200 from his bank account and bought a one-way train ticket from his hometown of Doncaster to London. He boarded the train alone and was seen on CCTV arriving at King's Cross Station that afternoon. He walked out of the station and into the bustling city. That footage is the last positive sighting of Andrew Gosden. He had no known friends or relatives in London. He didn't take a jacket, his charger, or his glasses prescription with him. His family had no idea why he would suddenly travel to London. He was a quiet, home-loving boy who loved video games. There was no indication he was unhappy or in any trouble. For over a decade, his family has waited for answers. Why did this brilliant young boy get on a train to a city he barely knew? And what happened to him once he stepped out of King's Cross Station? The image of him walking out of the station doors is a frozen moment in time, the beginning of a mystery with no end in sight. Finally, we have the case of Jennifer Kess, a 24-year-old woman who lived in Orlando, Florida. On January 24, 2006, Jennifer failed to show up for work. Her family and boyfriend knew something was wrong, as it was completely out of character for her. They found her apartment undisturbed, but her car was missing. 2 days later, her car was found abandoned in a parking lot about a mile from her home. The most significant piece of evidence came from a surveillance camera at that apartment complex. The grainy footage shows an unidentified person parking Jennifer's car and walking away. The person's face is obscured by a fence post in the video, making identification impossible. Investigators believe this person is key to solving the case. Who was this individual? What happened to Jennifer between the time she left for work and the time her car was abandoned? Despite a massive investigation and extensive media coverage, Jennifer Kess's whereabouts are still unknown. The shadowy figure walking away from her car is the last clue in a case that has left a family searching for answers for years.